Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time and depending on when you're going to see this video. It's your brother, your boy, Cos Reps Corner. Like I always tell you, it's my corner, it's your corner, and it's a corner. In today's video, I would like to give us an update. Like we know, our presidential candidate for Labour Party LP is on a diaspora tour. Let me use the word, because when I say diaspora, I mean he's visiting different parts of the Western world where our people are, to give them some to see them and to know how they are faring. And some of them he has organized symposium. English will not kill me. He has organized a program for them where he will be there and questions and answer will be asked to him and he will be replying. And we have heard he has been to Canada. He has been to different parts in Canada, Ontario as the case may be, many other places. We have heard he has been to US, Washington DC and the rest parts of it. But yes, and in this particular video I'll be showing us his own talk with those persons who we met in Washington DC. Okay, like we know, Washington DC is in USA. Okay, so he met some persons, and I tell you, the hall was filled to the brim. So it's will I say a long English will not kill me. It's a long video, and I just took my time, say yes, I must have to share it, because I think in my last video a subscriber told me to try and always bring stuffs like this, that if for nobody, she herself will be there to always support me when I bring content like this. So that's why I brought this. So he spoke with them. At a point they entered questions and answers, and he was answering them. So it is long. Yes, the video is long, but I am here with us, and I want you to be here with me. You know, in this particular place and the time that we are in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which happens to be our country, we need a change in the hemisphere of the political space of that country, so that we can see a way we can move from where we are to the next stage we are supposed to be. So be with me while I share this video with us. I will not be able to come back again after the video to talk to us. I believe everything he will say there, you will be able to hear him very well and clearly. Please guys, I want to thank all of us for being here with me. Please and please always be there with me, and thank you for supporting the nonsense I share. I know it's not important to you at a point, but for your love and your care, you're always there. So I appreciate you all. I really do thank you for always coming. Till I come your way next time, till you see me in your screen, guys, I leave us with the video. Please watch with me. I leave us in peace.
A country of 100, 200 million people will now have more people living in poverty than China and India combined. These two countries are 2.8 billion. And a few years ago, both of them have nearly 1 billion each living in poverty. They've been able to put their people out of poverty. Countries after country. And you, who is diaspora, is even worse. Some say, oh, they've left Nigeria, they're happy they've left Nigeria. Oh, they're happy they've left. Let me tell you, oh, the double money. Because the place was not good, that's why he left. That was why. There was no hope, there was no opportunity. So it's okay, I'm going, let me go somewhere that is good. But I can tell you, even here, you're in trouble. Why your own is double whammy? Is that while you have escaped the problem, the poverty, the suffering, and everything here, you actually became the the social welfare, the provider, the ATM for those who left behind. So even your hard work, you are not enjoying it. You don't even have peace. For every 10 calls you receive, 11 is problem. That's why I said more than anyone has problem. So it's more than 100%. You are scared. If your brothers call you, you don't know why they're calling you. If your mother calls you, you don't know. If your parents, your relations call you, because all you hear is bad news. You become doctor, nurse, funeral director, everything. It's a crisis situation for you. That calls for what they call unexamined life. How did we get here? What brought us here? Unexamined life is not one level. We must ask ourselves fundamental question. How did we get here? Is it because there was earthquake? No. Because some countries have bad weather and they will earthquake. Is it because there was war? The war ended in 1970. By 1980, Nigerian per capita was 2,000, over $2,000. We were better off. We were about 6-7 times per capita of China, better than Vietnam, South Korea, who are in Czech color, Bangladesh. These were very poor countries. I will never be compared with us anyway. We are doing better in education than all of them. Our universities were better. Things was going on well. Everybody wanted to be part of investing in Nigeria. So it wasn't war. Because war ended in 70. So is it because of war? Is it because we have suffered one form of calamity or the other? No. Except one thing called leadership. To serve the country and drove us into this mess. Where we wake up every day with pain, which is all of you. Now we wake up, pain, complain every day. It's not killing, it is kidnapping. It's one form of banditry or the other. Nobody moves around, you don't know where to go. If you tell your people you're coming back now, they'll tell you don't come back. The only thing they want is for you to send money so that they can survive. Because if you come back, they kidnap you or kill you. Then it's a struggle for them. Because if you send money, you must send money. So it's better send me and send us. Let's deal with them. Yes, we can never find. So how are we going to solve it? The job of Nigeria now, people were, today when I was talking to some supposedly government officials, said, we don't need aid. Let the foreign countries stop giving us aid. I'm not begging anybody. If you want to help Nigeria to help Middle East. We have all of the needs. We can do more. We have everything. All we want is leadership. If you have it, we deal with issues. There's nothing wrong in providing security in Nigeria. Let nobody tell you there's anything wrong with providing security. It's not true. Today, people kidnap people in Nigeria, take them to the bush, calling their family to bring money. If the victim is sick, doctor goes to treat him. So he will be well, so they can be funny, but police don't know where they are. But they're using phone to call. In this time and age, that if you stay anywhere, you can be.
I'm drawing you.
And they are calling phone. I'm not saying they are not even without phone. They are calling phone. And they will tell them where to keep money. But police don't know where they are. And nobody knows where they are. 80% of our oil is stolen. At the time every other country is making excess money because of the war in Ukraine, and oil prices have come up. Every OPEC country is meeting up its own quota, except Venezuela, because of sanctions. Nigeria cannot produce its own quota. Our quota is 1.8 million barrels per day. We're not producing our quota. In July alone, or the average production of the month of July was 1,083,000. So we're losing 717,000 barrels per day in our quota. Throughout that month, we lost 22,227,000, which are the average price of $110 million. $110. Go and check it, and you see what we lost. It was about $2,445,000,000. That's what we did. That's what we lost. And we're borrowing money throughout that money. We're borrowing money. When, if you calculate it, you even see. When I did it last to somebody yesterday, 2 days ago, over the phone last night, I told you, I said, okay, official rate is 410. The one that is official to me is 690. Then if you two of them is 1,100 divided into 550. If you use 550 to multiply it, it's about 1,344 billion. That's what we got in 1 month.
Hey.
And we're borrowing money. To tell you how, that's what we lost in 1 month. To tell you how bad it is, between January this year and April 30th this year, our total revenue was 1,630 billion. And with our expenditure within the same period was 4,720. So we had a deficit in that period of 3,100 billion. And in 1 month we lost this in oil. Oil is not sweet. It's not grocery people put in their pockets. So you will not say somebody came and stole it. It was official stealing. Because for vessels to come into your territorial waters to take oil, your Navy must approve the vessel. Here you have 20 million children out of school. And the resources we need to train these children are being stolen by by those who are supposed to educate them. It is not we didn't educate yesterday that suddenly became a problem to us. Because nobody who went to school like you can go and kidnap somebody and live in the bush. Can the person? No. I've been to about 4 prisons interviewing young boys who are being kidnapped. When you ask them, why did you do this? They tell you they have no job. So how much were you paid in last operation? 30,000, 40,000.
Chai.
And he says in the bush. Because nobody cared about him. So he started caring about himself. And in the course he takes drugs, he shoots people, he kills people, he doesn't make money to him. And we are quiet. Because we have leaders who are incompetent, who don't know what to do with them. And they are still talking about it. And you hear them every day telling you, if you say Peter, they'll tell you he has no structure. It is structural criminality. It is structure that have made us to be, that is the banditry structure. That is the corruption structure. It is that structure that kept us where we are. And that's what we want to dismantle.
Yeah!
The sinner effect all of you with it. What I said to you is that I'm not the only one who is contesting for president. Well, I'm not the only one. There's 18 parties contesting for president. What I said to you is that the way I came here, let everybody come, not you. You must listen to them. You must listen to all of us. It is important. But let them come not through proxy. Let them not send anybody. They must come and stand the way I'm standing now. It is important that they do this. We cannot continue the way things are going today. It is unacceptable. Because we have a country. If we make a mistake in 2023,
country is over.
I won't tell you what will happen, but you won't have to send too much money. You will turn into a funeral director. So what we are trying to do is what I've told you. I'm not contesting the election to be president of Nigeria. We are trying to mobilize all of you to come together. But I've been listening for years.
Yes.
Yes. I've been listening for years, like he told you.
Yes.
He didn't start it yesterday, he's been doing it. He's been going all over the place. I even tell him whenever we have a private opportunity to talk together at that time. You know you teach politically, come on. If this one goes wrong, you stop teaching because I don't know if you are So what I'm begging all of you is for us to come together and take back our country. We will take back the country. The reason why they don't want you to vote for them, because they know you won't vote for them. They know you have to come here. I've said it everywhere I go. 2023 is the last time diasporans will not vote. Never again.
It's incredible.
They must vote. If they can do it in Angola, do it in Kenya, do it in Ghana, why not Nigeria?
Yes!
Giant of Africa. How do you know giant? Giant of Africa cannot. Everything is wrong with the giant. Every other person is well except the Chinese. Tell me what is wrong in generating power. Father, I've told you now. Since for the past 20 years, Nigeria cannot generate, transmit, and distribute beyond 4,000 megawatts of electricity. Yeah. Tell me what is wrong. Human being, nothing else. We are the biggest country, 200 million people in Africa. The second biggest in terms of economy is South Africa, 60 million. Generates about 50,000 megawatts of electricity. In the past 3 weeks, the president of South Africa declared emergency in power because they don't have enough power. So he declared emergency and said every person or company can generate up to 100 megawatts without license. So somebody who generates 50,000 have declared emergency, and somebody with 4,000 hasn't said it. Because it benefits from the confusion. Because people live off the confusion. The third biggest country is Egypt. It generates over 50,000. So tell me what is wrong with this man who generates 4,000 and he's not complaining. It's normal. You need to dismantle it. The cost of governance in Nigeria is unacceptable. You live here. People don't like it. When I say it, I was in California. Ask them, can governor of California be seen next tomorrow? I was there on Monday. I said, can he be seen tomorrow in a 10-car convoy? He will not be governor next year. They will remove him immediately. I said to them, do you see him calling parties every day, drinking champagne, they will remove him. The British Prime Minister is going mad because he went to party. Yes. He didn't do anything, there was no offense. He just went to party, which everybody came with his own drink. You didn't even use your money to buy the drink. But for the fact that they said nobody should go out that time, and he went out. That's it. Not the country. There was no offense, didn't take their money. He just went to party that he bought his own drink, like everyone. That was it. That is the country. In our home, he will be holding parties every day. Even during COVID, nobody will touch him. If you call his name, then it becomes a problem. We celebrate evil news, celebrate criminality. Somebody will vote somebody. Everybody knew that when we voted him, he didn't have a house. He didn't even have a house. Hasn't even traveled overseas. Then he builds a mansion and comes to Washington. And people will show him the best part of Washington. Utomi. He buys a house there, calls Nigerians to come and do housewarming with him, and they will attend. When they know the simplest thing to do is to call police. Nothing. And they're asking you what is wrong. The leaders are incompetent. They don't have capacity. Their lives have been consumed by criminality and transactional. Then the full have become insanely complacent. And I'm now talking before you say it, is calling him His Excellency, distinguished, honorable. And so today we have to remove all these attachments until things start to happen. So we're not here to, what we're here to do tonight is for you to be able to interact. I want to learn. We want to see some government officials today. And they were telling me, we want to know your vision. I said, no, I didn't come with any vision here. I want to know what you want us to do. So I can go back and succeed in start doing it. So you can come. We need you. They said, no, we need each other. I said, no, don't talk like that. We need you. We know who needs who. Don't tell us, I know, yes, you know, but they were polite. We need each other. I said, we don't need each other. We need you. We don't queue up to collect our visa. We queue up to collect our visa. If you have your way, ask all of us to go. So let's so tell me what you want. And it was nice to say to me, let me be honest with you. You're the first person who is contesting the election who have been here asking all this type of question. And that's what happens in Canada. You meet somebody and say, what can we do? So you can come and say, oh, can we talk? I say, yes, now because we need you. Because if you do what you want, you can come. And we need it.
Yes.
We want to move the country from consumption to production. And people ask me how. That's where we end. I say, yes. Today, IMF person said that I'm against borrowing. Prof was there when he was asking me that I'm against borrowing. So how am I going to cope? That Nigeria can borrow more. Nigeria can do this. I say, yes. I'm not against borrowing. I said, please, sir, in this country, America debt to GDP is over 80%. It's almost 100% today. But our own is 30 only. But everybody wants to leave that place where it's 30. The wrong way is already 100. That shows there's something wrong with the borrowing. And I told him, I said, I'm not against borrowing. Every country of the world borrows. Your own is almost 100%. The second biggest economy, China, with everything they do every day, is almost 60%. The third biggest, Japan, is 230%. He said, yes. I said, but let me tell you, you know what Japan used that borrowing to do.
Exactly.
And on top of that, you are aware that the highest holder of US treasuries today is Japan. So they have something that if you push them, they can say, okay, let's start paying you for here.
Yes.
In our own, that we borrowed it.
We talk.
I said, where's the money? And I gave him an example of two countries. I said, listen, let me leave America and tell you about two countries that have borrowed money. That is where our end so can. I said, I just tell you what I told him today. I said, let me show you two countries that have borrowed money. So you see the difference between borrowing. We borrowed money, Bangladesh borrowed money. And in 2010, Bangladesh GDP is $110 billion. About that. And their per capita is $747. 2010, they were owing about $45 billion. Their debt was at between 36-40% of their GDP. Yes, they were borrowing like Nigeria. They were investing in education. They were investing in productive assets. Today, they are 300-something billion GDP. Per capita is now 2050. Their debts have increased to about 100 and something. But because this one have grown, It's come down to about 32%, and it's stable. They're doing well. Their export of clothing alone today is about 36 billion. I said, but what's happening in our country? In our country, as at that time, we were 375 GDP, our per capita was 2,225. Our debt was under 10% of our GDP. Today, our debt has increased to about 30%. So while we were owing about $30 billion, today is about 100. So it's increased. What happened? Our GDP is 400. Our per capita is now 1,980.
Has
It's
dropped.
like 10%. And we borrowed more money. So what happened to the money we borrowed? Snake ate it. And we can't find the snake. But everybody knows that when snakes swallow something, it stays in one place. So we can't find it. So we're unproductive. What we want to do is to get our country to be productive. 200 million people. Maybe a question and answer, let's consider it more. My dear people, 2023 election would not be, my brother said, I asked him to pray, he said, it's from the Lord. My brother, let me tell you, there's no place in the North they buy bread cheap. There's no place in the North they have better road. There's no Katsina is where the president comes to. It's one of the most insecure places today. There's no place in the North they have contracted electricity. The same thing is what is happening in the East, in the Southwest, everywhere. What you hear about all this tribe and religion is elite conspiracy to continue stealing our money.
Yes.
We have to. 2023 election
It's conspiracy.
is not about religion. Will not be about tribe. Will not be about entitlement. Will not be about my tongue. Do not vote for me because I'm from the Southeast. Do not vote for me because I'm a Christian or I have my religion. Don't vote for me because of my entitlement or my father committed it to me or is my king. 2023 election must be about character we can trust.
Yes. Come on.
It must be about competence. It must be about capacity. It must be about capacity to start moving Nigeria in the right direction. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Obi, for a wonderful speech. Your warm-hearted, honest, and candid speech. Nigeria loves you. Give Mr. Obi some love, everybody. We're about to start the Q&A session with Professor Patrick Utomi and Mr. Peter Obi. At this time, I'm going to call our second moderator, Ms. Tope Pajugasi.
Good evening, Professor Utomi and Mr. Utomi. You're welcome to this segment. We got a lot of questions and we'll do our best to ask as many of your questions as we can. But if we don't get to them, you will receive responses if you registered for this event. The first question is for you, Mr. Utomi. Nigeria is a deeply divided country right now. Divided along the lines of ethnicity and religion for the most part. What will you do to be the unifier that Nigeria needs? No, that's the first question for you. Yes, please.
But quite frankly, I agree with you that it's divided along tribal, religion, and everything. But it's not something that is very difficult to unite. Nigerians have shown the capacity to come together when there's anything that gives them hope. Go and watch Nigerians when they're playing football.
Yes.
Go and watch Nigerians when somebody is winning even just in sports. Go and see Nigerians when things are working well. All these divisions along ethnic line and religion, I said before, is an elite conspiracy to keep the country where it is today so they can continue to live on the confusion. If we have a good leader today, there's no, every country has an ethnic problem. Even in America here, everyone. We don't have more tribes than Indonesia. We don't have more tribes than most countries. But once they see good and exemplary leadership, they will come together. Because if you start providing power today and people are employed, you reduce, the more you put people out of poverty, you start seeing all these things change. It's happening in Brazil, happening in Mexico and everywhere. So we will work hard by creating opportunity where everybody will be invited to the table, live together, love each other, dialogue where even people are agitating, and try to bring everybody together. And I'm sure Prof will add to this as well.
Well, thank you very much. The challenge of Nigerians living together is fundamentally a challenge that comes from the poor structure of the Nigerian Federation. When you have a federalism that allows people to exercise their freedom and grow, people will accommodate one another and all profit from it. And I give you an example. Back in the late 50s, when self-government first came, and the early 60s, Nigerians were found to be competing about who would most bring progress to their people. This phenomenon came to be called competitive communalism. Ethnic nationality groups who were trying to bring the most progress to their people. What has happened is that with the failure of our federalism, people are in a zero-sum game. If you win, it means that I have lost. So in the fight to share, we have become very antagonistic to one another. But if the federal structure allowed everybody to produce adequately, and people are prospering, and that happened in the 50s, there will be less of the kind of tension that is there today. But clearly, politicians who thrive on state capture and who are taking advantage of the confusion will deepen those cleavages so that they can continue to profit from it. And that is what we must, through just good leadership, show people that we have no room, because all parts of Nigeria can thrive and everybody can be happy living together.
Thank you very much.
What matters is leadership.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to start the second question with you, Professor Utomi. This week, Delta Airlines, just like Emirates, British Airways, announced a significant reduction in service to Nigeria. And they are making a move that will mean that passengers need to purchase tickets online in USD, even though their flights are originating from Nigeria. This is because of the exchange rate crisis. Nigerian Naira is spiraling in free fall. The CBN has a parallel exchange rate that makes young bankers think that the government is sponsoring vacation so they can round trip. What will the Peter Obi administration do to tackle the downward spiral in the Naira?
Well, thank you. Mr. Obi has said repeatedly that what solves that problem is production. Once you begin to produce, and we'll talk about how we produce, you will earn so much from what you are exporting that your currency will be getting very strong. In fact, and indeed, producing and exporting countries don't worry about their exchange rate. Back in the 70s, Japan wanted to have a weak exchange rate position so that their exports will take over the American market, as indeed back in those days. When the Japanese yen grew so strong, and I still remember clearly when it crossed the 200 mark, came from 200 something to 190, Japanese were almost crying, and the exchange rate was getting stronger because it would affect their exports. But because we don't produce, and we just get whatever comes from crude oil and share and fight, we go into these games with exchange rates. Now, but here's the big danger between institutions and markets. You know, for a good part of our history, we depended on the central bank managing a block currency. We didn't have a market for foreign exchange. We got to a point where by 1983-84, and for younger people it's important to learn this lesson because we forget too very quickly, Nigeria could not pay its due bills, exactly what's happening with the airlines today. And we had to so ration foreign exchange that it was almost a crime to be found with $100 in Nigeria. It was not almost, it was a crime.
Yes.
I was going to Zimbabwe in 1984. I had to fly to London to get money to fly back to Zimbabwe. Because if I left Nigeria with $200, I would go to jail. And we came down to where Venezuela gets to always very quickly. We were queuing up to buy milk, to buy sugar. It was called essential commodities. And we actually set up a company called the Nigerian National Supply Company to bring these things in. After the pain of that season, we learned a few things and began to try to build markets. One of the biggest market building challenges we had was building a foreign exchange market. And so, various iterations went to a two-tier foreign exchange market. We all remember SPEN.
Yes.
And then we kept getting better, institutions kept getting strengthened until we had a running foreign exchange market. Markets are a function of the strength of the institutions that support them. What happens? About 6 years ago, we began a dangerous reversal of those gains.
Yeah.
We began to have multiple exchange rates. Those multiple exchange rates essentially just allowed people with access to power to take money at this rate, round trip it, make more money, and indolence crept into the system. Today we've broken that market. It will take us a lot to rebuild this market that give us, the possibilities of growth over these last couple of years. But it will and can be done. All you need is to have regulators who understand what they are doing, who are patriotic enough, and who can be held accountable. One of the biggest risks of doing business in Nigeria is regulatory risk.
Yes, it is the biggest.
So in 2019, I think it was a May 28 article, Forbes magazine described Nigeria as Africa's money-losing machine. And that was the function of the nature of the regulatory risk in the environment that was preventing flows. But talking about what we can do, if the world sees that Nigeria is serious, just the signaling, there is so much capital around the world today that capital will flow into Nigeria. And these capital are flowing that will take place. And that's how we will solve problems of exchange rate and markets for foreign exchange.
Thank you. Before I let you actually, Mr. Peter, I want to add an additional question that I want you to answer. In addition to exchange rate, there are so many problems that if you become Nigeria's president, you will inherit on day one. How would you prioritize? What will be your priorities in your first 100 days?
Just to add to what they have said about the exchange rate, they have said, for me, without meaning, professors have become more sophisticated way of solving it. Mine is simple, production. Which have said, if you are a producing country and you export, you manage your rates.
Yes.
And it's a very simple thing. Nigeria is a country, 200 million people, living on 923,000 square kilometers of land. Total export in 2021 is 18 trillion 900 billion naira. If you divide it by official rate, it will give you about 47 billion. If you divide it by my own rate, it will give you 650. It will give you about 30 billion. For 200 million people. Vietnam is 100 million. So half of our population living on 331,000 square kilometers of land. So they live on a third of our land and half of our population. Total export last year is $312 billion. So we couldn't do 10% of what 100 million people living on a third of our land is able to do. That is our problem. When we talk about federal, not having two federal, he mentioned about what states, there's no competition. What states are not doing anything. A state like Niger is 76.3 thousand square kilometers of land. 2.5 times the size of Netherlands without water. Netherlands is at 3,000. You remove water, it's about 40-something thousand. Their agricultural exports on land that is bordered with winter, everything is $120 billion. Niger State, 2.5 times that land. Good weather, fertile weather, better land and everything, did not feed themselves. They couldn't feed Nigeria. They did not export anything. If they had done only 1% of export of Netherlands, it would be $1.2 billion, which if they exchange it at 650, it would be about 750 billion naira, which is about 5 times their budget. Taraba State is the same thing. Taraba State is 54-something thousand square kilometers of land. With Mandela on it, they can grow tea, they can grow coffee, they can grow flour on that fertile land. Kenya last year exported flour of over $500 million. Ethiopia did tea and coffee of $1.1 billion. Sierra Leone, with all their trouble, did tea of $1.4 billion. Taraba State is still looking to share money for rivers. If they grow 10% of what they're saying now, they'll make $300 million, which is very, so it is not a producing country. And he talked about people coming to invest. Prof stated very well that there's so much money. Do you know the first investors that will come to Nigeria today is money? It's the conducive environment.
Diaspora.
If you secure Nigeria today, have a greater environment, the first investors is you.
Yes. Yes. Diaspora.
And where would you want to invest? That's what happened in Asian countries.
Yes.
Because today, you're working hard here, sending money for people to eat. You want to invest money, ask in London for 10 years. My neighbor built a factory in India. That factory was employing over 500 people. They were being paid good salary. What they were producing, he was exporting to UK and making more money. That's what you should be doing. You should come to Nigeria as an investor, invest money, export goods to US and make more money.
Yes.
Today, even if you save money for them to build a house, I'm chopping.
Thank you very much.
What are my priorities? The priorities are very simple. It's number one, to secure the country. Nobody can do anything
If they are afraid of their lives.
in an insecure place.
Exactly.
No matter the profit, because the person has to be alive to come and eat. So you need to secure the country. You need to, and there's 3 intangible assets you need to deal with head on: security, rule of law, which is the great environment, and investing in human capital development. If you have these 3, then you can deal with your most critical infrastructure, power. If you put this in place, you start again like the issue of fighting corruption, which I said before. Fighting corruption is not sophisticated. If you, the principal person, is not stealing, your wife and children, and those around you are not stealing, you reduce it by 70%. When I say this, one people will tell me, "Oh, Peter, I don't know what you're talking. You are this," and I'll say, "Listen, I've been a governor for 8 years. And I've left office in the past 8 years. 8 years to 9 years. And I've said to anybody, go to Anambra State and show me where their money is missing. I have to steal first before I can add a vote. You cannot do it because the local government chairman, governor, and president that approves what is to be stolen. So their own will be inside before anybody can add his own. Otherwise, if you add it, he will catch you. So I say to everybody, I approved every money spent in Anambra State. And within the period I was governor, I can say to anybody, as clever as the thieves are, they didn't take up to 5% of what we received. If you go and find that there was even up to 2%, come and stop moving around.
Thank you so much. Professor Utomi, I want to ask you this question, and this is a question that, telling you all the questions we got, was one of my favorites, because I'm a professor of agricultural and business management here, and I also run a farm with my husband in the US. You've talked about agriculture a lot, about the uncultivated lands in the northern part of Nigeria. But having farmed here for the past 5 years, I now know that land, though very critical, and labor, very essential, are just 2 of the 3 components that are required for agriculture to thrive. What will the Peter Obi administration do to address access to capital and other barriers that farmers or aspiring farmers face in Nigeria?
Well, thank you. First of all, this might sound kind of strange, but you got to give agricultural sex appeal. Right now, what people think is what dying people, retired people, and people who have nothing else to do go to. It must become a business, and people must be able to get very rich being agriculture. We got to create markets You've got to create markets. One of the concepts we've been talking about is we currently take local governments as political units where we again share money to be shared and stolen to people, waiting for what is coming from there. But if local governments were treated as economic development areas, then you take what agricultural endowments of a particular local government area is. The education of primary education from there is geared towards the endowments, agricultural endowments in that area. And you can, by the time the young person is in primary 6, say if you are in North Central Nigeria, you will know everything to do about sesame seed production and the value chain of sesame seed. And you will get people who are prepared to play in this space, to be so empowered by banks that see the profits that will come from them. Look, we talk about infrastructure. Thank God it's from out of here. Thank God the Nigerian was part of the team with the late Clayton Christensen, professor at the Harvard Business School, who wrote the book Prosperity Paradox. This infrastructure can come from simply building markets around these endowments in agriculture. And when people find that they are graduating and they can go into farming and expect to be richer than the ones who went to do banking, we will have agriculture that's right.
I'd like you to chime in, but before you do that, I want to talk about on a related note. In 2050, Nigeria will overtake 2050, Nigeria will overtake the United States as the third most populous country in the world. And yes, it's true. And Africa will also become the most populated continent with the most youthful population. Now, if you're familiar with Nigeria, ASU is almost knocking 200 days on their strike. A lot of young Nigerians are idle, they are at home, agriculture is not an option. What would you do to address this population bulge and also address tertiary education in Nigeria?
Well, the youthful population, let me tell you, can be asset or it can be liability. Today is liability because you have millions of them at home doing nothing with all their energy and talent. We once had what we are accusing our young ones doing today. India, China once had that situation. Having a large population with sinful countries is not a liability, it's an asset. If you train them, if you invest in them, and they are productive, they become an asset. And all you need to do is to train them. You just ask Prof access to funding for farmers, access to this, that's what people ask. Where do they get the one they steal? The same funding. I tell people, today, the richest state in America is not Texas with all their oil. It's California. And it's agricultural knowledge. We have a youthful population with a lot of talent. The world is driven by knowledge today. ICT knowledge. You can invest in that. The world has shortage of workers in that direction. You invest in sports today, then entertainment, then everything. So if you can turn this liability you are looking at into assets, everybody. Jamaica have used sports, smaller than they have, to solve criminality. There's so many talented sportsmen and women in Nigeria. Nobody cares about them. The money you use to train them is what is being stolen. There's so many talents that can run all the ICT companies all over the world. They're not trained. You are not investing in human capital, which everybody knows that the more you invest in human capital, the better your development. For every $1 you put in human capital, you can reap as much as $10. And we are today number 168 over 172. So you can. Even what we are talking about, diaspora remittances. Why are they remitting it? Is it not the educated one? So even if we educate them and they support them, you double the remittances. So there's a win-win if you get it well. In Philippines, they have a ministry where they actually regulate export of people to go and do work in different countries. We can do that. We are telling the world has shown in 2030 there will be shortage of technology workers, about 20 million. There will be shortage of about 10 million nurses and midwives. This is time we should be creating, training them, waiting ready for. So we can double this remittances we are talking can be doubled where Nigerians all over the place. That's why remittances 60 billion. Export, we won't be talking about this exchange.
Thank you very much. Professor Utomi, I'd like you to chime in on the tertiary education ASU strike because I know that you are...
The tertiary strike, no, sorry. It is, let me tell you, when Prof might tell you, but I can tell you, there's no reason why I've been involved in ASU strike. And what they are demanding is not what we cannot afford. What is even worse, this was an agreement that was agreed in 2009 until today. Governments have not fulfilled anything of that agreement. How can government sign something 11 years after?
And doesn't do it.
And they're still there. Prof can say because at times when it comes to government and I keep quiet.
Well, thank you so very much. And I think it's an appropriate time to make a point. Mr. Utomi has repeatedly talked about corruption and all these problems. But you see, the real huge problem from that is that it blinds people to how purpose gives way to power. We have here with us today the Labour candidate for governor of Delta State, Dikin Bella. And the conversations that we have been having deals with the heart of this guy. I'll give you a very true illustration of this. Many years ago, ExxonMobil as a company wanted to build a school of some significant cost, a couple of $100 million, in Delta State as a gift to give to the government. But part of the process required that the government write a letter, simple letter. If you build this school and gift us with it, we will accept it and run. ExxonMobil for 2-3 years was trying to get that simple letter from the Delta State government, and they could not. So one of the executives said to me, look, this we are from Delta. This cannot possibly be happening. I said to him, no, it's not possible. You want to give somebody a gift? Hundreds of millions in a school. That what we need more than schools. And he said, please, can you help us? So I called the governor. And the governor said, how can? No, of course. I said, okay, tomorrow please, help me to write this letter. 3 weeks later, no letter. I kick off again. He said, they never sent anything. I just never sent that one.
It's not funny, you know.
I hadn't received the letter. So I said, okay, maybe the governor is too busy. Let me call the deputy governor, who's my friend, who's a university professor. So I called him. I said, see you. He said, how can? When are you coming to Asaba? I said, I can come tomorrow. He said, okay, come. I came to Asaba. We sat in his house, we ate nice dinner. Oh, we talked about this, how can? Look at the importance of education. We spoke all the grammar about education.
Try.
So he said, tomorrow morning, let's meet in my office and sort this thing once more. Tomorrow, following morning, I was in his office. He summoned the Commissioner for Education. 1 day later, we spoke about the grammar. She knew about the whole thing. So I thought, okay, before I leave here today, they will give me this letter. Look, 1 year later, that letter is written. And it was so, I just couldn't figure it out. And somebody said to me, oh boy, yourself. I said, what do you mean, you? He said, tell them you give them 500 million to build the school. They will take it again. You see, people, we have to realize what has happened to our country. There's been a collapse of culture. That collapse of culture gets in the way of prioritizing what matters. I mean, look at tertiary education. We're talking about universities in a country, the main artery of the university system, being shut down for 6 months. And it does not seem to matter to public officials. I mean, where in the normal world would such a thing happen? And then we're told that one Auditor General somehow stole the first 19 billion, then another 18 billion. But how much is that is asking? One man has taken several times what ASU has been begging to use to fix the entire university system. And it's okay, people are carrying on as if things are normal. Things are not normal. We're dealing with a national tragedy, a huge crisis that has to take all of us becoming involved. I was interviewed by one of the TV channels and I said, this is a revolution. We must take back our country. Because those...
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I still have pages full of questions, but the time is on our friend and there's another event tonight that we want to make sure starts early. So I'm just going to give both of you 30 seconds to wrap up, and I'd like you to talk about how you plan to reduce the cost of governance in Nigeria. 30 seconds.
Okay. No, this is really something that I've actually done some work on from years back. It's going to move us on that. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, as finance minister, tried to have a human capital audit of the government. He found that 70% of ministries don't even know what the ministry is supposed to be doing. They don't have the capacity to do what that ministry is set up to do. Now, are you going to sack them? Outrage, this, okay, simple. No, you will sack them.
We train them.
But what do you know how to do? Yeah, you know how to do this. You will go to the local government to go and do that. If you don't want to go to local government, you can leave the service. Here is an entrepreneurship scheme that will give you support to start a business around your area of capacity. Because we reduce this to you're going to get rid of people and all of that. But the capacity to do the work that's needed does not exist in most of the government agencies. And, how do we upgrade their skills? How do we ensure that the leadership makes them focus on some purpose so that they can create value? Unless we can do that, we are not going to. And of course, because they don't know what they are doing, most of them, they have time to plot how to cheat this, game the system. So, first thing we must do is do a proper human capital audit of government. And then we will get the appropriate skilling to take place so that people who are in positions can deliver value. Then incentives. How do you use incentives to make people actually produce? And we found out in places when they tried, under President Obasanjo, a few of those were put in place, it didn't work, but in other cases they were again abused. But we have to run government like a business. Until we can run government like a business, we're going to be in very serious trouble of dead mood all over the place, getting in the way of those who want to work. That's the more dangerous part of it than the fact that they are there and it's salaries for doing nothing.
And snakes consuming the money. Mr. Peter,
thank you. You get back 3 minutes, so you give me more. Well, let me, this place, this is my concluding one. I need to stand up and thank these people because they've been very, very wonderful this time. Let me tell you, on area of consequence of governance, it's an area where I don't need to tell you more. Everywhere I go, I've told them that my head of service wrote an article. Ms. Ngozi Melifonwu, she's about to publish it, and I said no, where she said stinginess as a development strategy. Everybody that is here knows that as governor, I govern one of the most difficult states in Nigeria. Everybody knows that no elite in Anambra State is possible. At least I go to Abuja, I go to places where people tell me nobody is happy with you. Every day, I get that nobody is happy with you. The only thing consolation I have is that as I tell them I never promised anybody happiness. They know where to find happiness. I'm also saying it to you people. If I become president tomorrow. No, if I become president tomorrow, you will not be happy. You will not be happy. And I know that. Because there won't be anything for free. Because you don't get anything free here. In fact, when I was coming here, Prof is my senior brother, so I always listen to him. There's quite a number of them, but Prof is the leader of all the gang, and I like listening to them. When I was coming here, Prof told me there's something you say often people don't like. I said, Prof, what is it? He said, whatever you said is you cut this one, you stopped office of First Lady. I said, Prof, everybody knows that when I was governor, I had more women working for me than men. And chief of staff, everybody knows the woman, my permanent secretary, my commissioner for finance,
Deputy Governor,
commissioner for education, commissioner for local government, head of service, all these people were women. However, that when I became governor, I found out that the office of governor had more, was taking up about 30% of thereabouts of our budget. For education, wasn't the president 10%? So I said, office of governor 5%. And when we started cutting costs, I found out we have all the waste. That included office of First Lady. I said, what are you people doing? My wife never contested the election. You go and buy a convoy of 20 vehicles for somebody nobody voted for, and nothing to do with it, and it's all around creating additional confusion.
including slapping. including slapping.
I'm very close. Everybody that knows me knows I'm close to my wife. But then day, say, sleep in the same place, but hey, I'm just one running around now. You are just here. Tomorrow, the German Chancellor came to Nigeria in his answer. A country of 3.8 trillion economy. The British Prime Minister came to Nigeria. British Prime Minister. A country of 3.1 trillion. Then
We have a first one.
once you visit them, he goes on.
Presidential jet.
If you see the wife of British Prime Minister, or the wife, if you go around here and see the wife of governor in this state, in this country, you wouldn't even know they exist. You wouldn't even know anything. Suddenly you come to our place. For somebody who is jobless, places that can not spend those sort of things on public money. And when you say people say no, I say no, we have to stop this. The wife flies private jets. Let me tell you how bad it is. From Enugu to Abuja on a private jet will cost you $10,000.
Yes.
MPs from Enugu to Abuja is 50,000. Tell me how somebody can spend 7 million naira, call it 5 million naira for something you can pay 50,000. I'm sorry that I can't take you back and talk about all this. Valentine was good. Yeah. He came with us. He's a fantastic, whether anybody likes it or not, he's one young man I will support. I supported him yesterday. I'll support him today. I'll support him tomorrow. When I was governor, he was managing director and president of Transcorp Hotel. And he said, my governor, I cannot be running Transcorp Hotel and you're not staying in my hotel. And I said, we can't afford it. And I said to him, look at the hotel where I'm staying. How much they charge me so I can sleep. If I come to your home, what you charge, I will be awake. Because it's true. Where I stay, I pay 50,000, but it's only 250. You will stole my money. I can go on and tell you about cost of governance. And cost of governance is unacceptable anywhere in the world. Never. And it has to be shut down. Public people spending public money must spend it in a manner that is accepted. Anambra State did not have a lodge in Abuja. My predecessor, he bought it for $1 billion. I shut it down. I told them that we don't have Anambra State in Abuja. I shut down building of presidential lodge in Oka. I said the president doesn't live in Oka. So why are we going to keep the house for him? Obasanjo said he wanted to come to Anambra State. And I went to him and said, you're president. You can come today and go today. Why are you going to sleep? And he insisted he must sleep in Oka for 3 days. I went to sleep. Everybody knew. I said, listen, sir, okay, no problem. I have a place to sleep. In my place, if big man is coming to your house, you vacate the house. I'll go away. You stay there, when you go and come back. And that was what happened. I left my lunch. He stayed there for 3 days. And I came back. We would have built another place for 1 million and keep it and run it. It is unacceptable. There's nothing to show. If I come here now and go and stay in the best hotel and everything, and I tell you, it doesn't make any difference to you. No. You actually, the more you even do that, the more they laugh at you and think, what is this man trying to prove? So it is important that we get cost of governance in place and people behave. You know, we have billionaires here. They celebrate, but not people in government. Any country where people in government are richer than business people is collapsed. That is your country. 2023, my dear people, please join this advocacy. They are trying now to use the resources they've stolen to keep going. We will resist it.
Yes. Yes.
They can end if they do the right thing. That's the advocacy. If you need be, invest $1, $2 into it. We won't stop this. And remember, in conclusion, when I win, don't go away. No, don't go away. Because what happens in Nigeria is that Peter is here preaching. Everybody believes him. He wins. Instead of doing what everything is saying, he's not saying what he saw when he went in. He's not seeing anything, but seeing everything now. So everything the man do, you know where we're going. Then you start, Peter now comes in here. Instead of you telling him what is happening, you start calling him His Excellency. People will start showing him where to buy new house. His wife who didn't come before, will now come wearing all sorts of things. No. This is time to tell Peter, when you came, you said you're going to move power from 4,000 to 10. How many have you increased? 2 or 3. So we know that Peter is in the right direction.